Eorzea!
Hi, Eorzea.
Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm one of the brigadiers at the Cookie Brigade, and this is my friend Blake.
Hi, I'm Blake.
I have been playing Final Fantasy XIV for about a year now. I am level 80 in almost every job except for Melee. Blake here is a Sprout.
I've been playing for about 2 weeks now. I am level 20-ish in Black Mage, and that's about it. I've got a few levels here and there in Rogue, and maybe like 1 in Archer.
Yeah, because you want to learn how to bard.
I really want to learn how to bard in time for Halloween. I've got a Halloween costume in mind that needs instruments.
So, as a Cookie Brigadier, normally we go to PAX, East, West, South, OS, Unplugged, and hand out delicious, tasty treats to all of you. Unfortunately, with COVID, that's not really a possibility. I know PAX West is coming in the fall. I unfortunately will not be there. Maybe Unplugged. Let's see how the world turns. But in the interim for PAX East this year, we're doing it virtual. And a lot of us are already in Eorzea, so we figured, why not bring Eorzea to you? TM. So throughout the weekend, you saw on Friday yesterday, there was the Red Mage Cooking Bake-Off. Today is not a bake-off. We're not competing against each other. We're going to work together as good warriors of light do. And we're going to make Yoshi P's coffee biscuits.
The most challenging of all dungeons.
So, for those of you who aren't really familiar with the coffee biscuit meme, the reason why this specific cookie is such a big meme in Final Fantasy is because in the Shadowbringers expansion, there's a levy quest. Levy quests are crafting, gathering, and in earlier expansions also combat quests that give a good chunk of experience. You can only do so many per day. You can store up to 100, but you only get about 6 back a day. These coffee biscuits use only 3 ingredients that are very easy to either gather or purchase off the market board. And although they don't sell for very much individually, you can turn in 9 of them at once at high quality. So you can make about 20,000 gil per turn-in. If you stock up 100 turn-ins, how much gil is that?
That would be a lot of gil.
You are going to do great in Orbon Monastery. There is a math boss.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to that. Is there an organic chemistry boss around like level 65 next? I don't know.
So, with that in mind, these cookies have become something of a meme, so much so that during the Eden raids, they're actually mentioned as being very memeified, that they're so popular within Norvrant. If you don't know where that is, it is not in Eorzea. It is in another part of that you will explore later. Please look forward to it.
Unfortunately, I only have the award-winning Heavensward expansion, and I can play unlimited until I reach that content barrier.
With that in mind, we already have our ingredients cut and measured for you, so we're going to read off the parts list and slowly work our way through the recipe. So, I'm going to have this available to you for anybody who wants. It is also Yoshi P's recipe, so it is pretty easy to find online. First off, we have 300 grams, which is 1 3/4 cups and 2 teaspoons of cake flour or all-purpose flour. We're using all-purpose. 130 grams, which is a 1/2 cup and 2 tablespoons of granulated sugar. 100 grams, which is a 1/4 cup and 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. 2 egg yolks. 3 tablespoons of milk, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 2 grams, 1 teaspoon of instant coffee powder, and chocolate chips or toppings as you like. They look like chocolate chips in games, that's what we'll be using. There's also a couple other items that we're using that are not part of his recipe. 1, salt.
Yes, pro tip for any of you bakers out there, if the recipe doesn't call for salt, add salt. It's just going to add a little bit of contrast, a little bit of complexity, and actually make everything taste sweeter, because you're going to be triggering the whole palate, not just power bombing the sweet receptors.
And the final ingredient we have isn't really an ingredient at all, but sort of just an addition, because we're going to be extra. If you want to hold it up, because I can only bend so far in these giant graves.
Sure thing. So we've got a few packets of Vietnamese coffee here, which we're going to be using to dust the plate with some custom Final Fantasy XIV plate stencils.
So I made, because I'm a cosplayer and I'm extra, I made us some MSQ plate stencils.
Oh, haunting me and guilting me for spending too much time on the side quests, even when I'm trying to have dessert.
Too many side quests. Well, you can always become a culinarian in-game.
Oh! You know what? Maybe once I finish Alchemist, I'll go there next.
Doing Alchemist is actually a really good idea because natron, baking powder, is made by alchemists, not by culinarians in game. So they cross-class a lot.
Really?
Yes.
No kidding. Okay, definitely picking both up then.
So we've already had our oven preheated. It's preheated to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 355 degrees Fahrenheit. We've also already taken out our eggs and butter in advance to let them soften and get to room temperature. In Japan, eggs aren't found in the refrigerated aisle. You buy them loose because the eggs are not pre-washed, and that's the reason why we have to refrigerate them here in the United States.
Pro tip, keep them at room temperature for all of your baking, especially cookies and brownies. Fudgy brownies need room temperature ingredients.
That's really good to know. I've always made my butter room temperature, but I don't tend to room temperature my eggs, so that's a good pro tip. So we've gotten them back to room temperature already, so let's get started. We're going to start by whisking the butter. So butter right now is pretty yellow, and we're going to whisk it till it's white. Yes, we're going to do it by hand because we'll take a moment to chat and talk to you about the Cookie Brigade. So as I mentioned before, we give out tasty treats at Con, but it's not that we're just giving out free treats, and they are free. They're always free, but we simultaneously take donations for Child's Play. Child's Play is an organization that provides toys, books, and games for kids who are stuck in hospitals, long-term care, that sort of thing. I am actually legally blind. I have a disease called ocular albinism. I spent a lot of time in and out of hospitals myself when I was a kid. Maybe you want to switch to a spatula.
Yeah, spatula for sure. We're just trying to cream the butter right now, not necessarily incorporate it, so a whisk is just going to trap it. Sorry about that. But on that note, I actually work at a children's hospital right now and can speak to some of the great work that Child's Play does.
Yeah, because CHOP, the Children's Hospital of Philadelphia, is one of the Child's Play sponsor hospitals.
No kidding. Maybe I'll try to get a team together in my department to raise some money this year.
That would be great. I do also want to give a shout out to I wouldn't say a sister organization, but an organization that's also doing some sort of cross work, and that's Extra Life, and they also have a CHOP branch. So Extra Life is a little different. That's for streamers who want to donate money directly to hospitals rather than for the specific, quality of life things. It's more for actual hospital care. So both of those gaming related charities are great. They do different work, but I love and I support both of them.
So right now, our butter, we're starting to see that it's turning white, just sort of as that all blends together and you get that nice homogeneous quality where all those lovely creamy and fatty bits are ready to bake with.
Awesome. So we are going to move on and we're going to add both the sugar and the egg yolks and then the milk in that order.
Sure thing.
So because I actually thankfully have free hands, hey, I can help.
Sure. You want to do the
Yeah, I'll do the egg yolks. So start whisking.
Sure thing.
And why don't we move this out of the way so
Yes.
we don't have any unhappy accidents today. I want HQ cookies, all right? I don't want any of this normal quality.
Thank God we separated the egg yolks off camera. That is always the most tense part of baking, in my opinion.
Yeah. So a good thing to do if you only need egg yolks is to crack them cleanly. Smacking one egg into another can usually is my safest way to do a clean crack. The stronger egg will survive. And then you want to pass the egg back and forth to get all the whites out. For this, if you want to save the whites for a meringue or something along those lines, it's great. In our case, we aren't making meringue as well. So.
Sadly, we don't have time, and it's a little bit too humid. Meringue, however nice a pavlova is in the summer, meringue in the winter is much easier because you're not fighting against nature.
Even with cream of tartar, it's still pretty difficult. So you're adding them bit by bit. We're whisking and incorporating. I'm going to step off camera for a second to check something out, and I will be right back.
Sure thing.
camera is just so silent, I can't tell if they're actually still running. So I always have this awful fear that they're turning off.
One of these days we should get you one of those big old Hollywood cameras, the ones with like the 35 millimeter film canisters, so you can hear the click clack the whole time.
I actually used to have a true film camera. I took a filmmaking class when I was in high school, and we had to use true film cameras as well as, oh gosh, I am still in the phase of testing out this costume, and it's sliding on me, so I've got to learn how to add some more Velcro to it. Velcro everywhere. All right, that looks pretty integrated. So you want to show that to the camera?
Yes, we've got that integrated. That yellow color is from the yolks. It was pure white right when we started.
Yeah. So next we're going to be sifting in the flour. Now a lot of people are like, why do you sift?
Well, because flour gets chunky and it incorporates better if you sift it. Remember, your kitchen is just as humid as the rest of the world, and all those nice loose bits of flour are going to go straight through, while shaking it is going to break up all those chunks and make sure that your cookies are nice and even and smooth and don't have weird brown lumps in them.
Yeah. So there are two types of sifters. We're using a wire sifter. You might also see one of those cylindrical ones that you spin.
Mm-hmm.
I also use this for making cheese as well, so.
Well, someone took the culinary track.
I have a culinary at level 80, thank you very much, with the specialty.
A specialty?
Yeah, you can
What's
get
your specialty?
Well, you get to pick 3 of your DOH, your hand classes, and turn them into specialties, which give you a couple extra actions, as well as allow you to make certain high-level crafts that you wouldn't be able to make otherwise.
Oh, definitely taking culinarian once I get that high.
So culinarian at the specialty lets you make certain recipes that you couldn't otherwise make. I believe pizza is one of them, although I do have to check.
That is nuts that pizza would be such like the high-level one. Pizza's the easiest.
Yeah, but think about the locations of the worlds that the world that you're visiting in. Eorzea has Thanalan, which is basically like desert. Then it has Lanasha, which is sort of, I wouldn't quite call it Mediterranean, but it's
got that like vague Mykonos vibe to it,
Yeah.
though. I could very much feel it. Santorini, that's what it reminds me of. It's very Santorini.
Well, the area that they're showing off in Endwalker looks very Santorini to me. That I don't want to spoil for those of you who don't want spoilers yet. But basically, the long and short of it is you don't get to an area where pizza and ovens are really a thing until Shadowbringers. So the regional cuisines sort of become a thing. So like, for example, in Heavensward, you get a lot of both French and Russian dishes because it's sort of like an amalgam. Ishgard is kind of like a, can't believe it's not France with elves.
Well, fun fact about French and Russian food being put together, way back when, in the court of the Tsar, he was so sick of...
We do want to add the coffee powder and baking powder while we
Yes, put in the baking powder. I'm going to remeasure the coffee powder. I worry I added a little bit too much, so I just want to make sure that I don't totally bomb this with coffee flavor. Yes, definitely added a little bit too much on that one.
So what is this about the Tsar? Let's hear the story, because as I understand it, as a massive Good Eats fan myself, that a lot of dishes that we call Russian were in fact actually French.
Yes, so basically the Tsar invited over a ton of Russian chefs, including the famous Escoffier, and was like, okay, here's what Russian ingredients are, here's kind of the basics of our cuisine, gave them a crash course in Russian food, and then said, make us court food. Make us something that could be seen as, you know, Russian fine dining. And that is where we got the famous kubliaka, or kubliak in French, which is a salmon in puff pastry. Those of you who are fans of Food Wars might remember a climactic battle in which that was the big reveal.
So I think we're just about done. So let's add our salt just before the end and make sure that this is all integrated. You might want to switch to your hands.
Yes, at this point, it's getting a little bit like that, but before I do that, I'm gonna just we took a little bit too much salt just so that it would show up on camera. We're just gonna wanna do 2 pinches in there.
Sounds good to me. And what's interesting about this recipe is normally with recipes with chocolate chips, this is when you'd put them in, but because we're doing it for the aesthetics, we're putting them after we actually roll out the cookies so that they appear on top.
With these flavors, you might also enjoy nuts. Might go nicely. You can use whatever toppings you like here. So nuts, dried fruit, dried cranberries.
I think even a swirl of peanut butter in the dough might work well.
That might work nicely. That might
Peanut
work.
butter and coffee actually work a lot better than people realize.
You just got to be careful with peanut butter because there's a lot of oil in there. So if you're using that, you might want to cut down on the butter just a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe for a second bake, try that one.
Yeah. Walnuts, I think, would be really nice.
Walnuts or pecans.
Yeah.
Pecans, chocolate, and coffee. Oh god, that's like a classic Southern combination. That's like the diner supreme right there. Okay, so now this is getting incorporated perfectly.
Very good. See, I have my own personal sprout micote to help me.
Yeah, and I get a plus 20 EXP bonus.
Thank you for that.
While partying, so I'm happy as well.
You know, you do know that there's actually a DOL raid, right? There is a raid for gatherers. There isn't one for crafters, but the stuff that you get from the gatherer raid can be used to make specialty crafts.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How high a level do I have to get until I get to go to the gatherer raid?
The gatherer raid can be done at level 10 or higher, but you can't do it until after 3-4, essentially, after you finish basically the main story of Heavensward, which is
the award-winning Heavensward expansion. Oh god, I don't know how many times that had to be told to me before it got through my thick skull and I picked up the game. I can be like the obnoxious hipster here who says that, oh, I joined Final Fantasy literally 2 days before everyone else joined Final Fantasy, before it sold out in digital copies.
So I do want to welcome all of our new sprouts who are here from WoW, or just people who are interested because, like, hey, this is the popular thing. Enjoy your stay in Eorzea, and if you have any questions, I'm Eos Fuyu on the Coral server.
And I am Kajura Tia on the very same.
I have a giant Aura who is very angry at things and likes to heal them.
I have a tiny Mikote who's kind of a sassy jerk.
All right, so it looks like our dough is fully integrated now, so let's move a few things out of the way and start shaping our stuff. So everything can just go in the sink.
Sure thing. Don't worry about it, I got it. You got those huge cauldrons to worry about.
Oh my god, they have their own zip code.
This is why nobles don't bake.
Apparently, and this is according to the lore books, Emmerich I, he used to be a bard. He wasn't originally a paladin. If you see in some of the flashback scenes, as well as the stories that are on the lodestone, which is sort of like the homepage, the official homepage for 14, he was an archer first. 1 and 2, apparently he's a culinarian, and 3, apparently he has a cat who is
I want
a
to
jerk.
meet the cat. I like cats. Okay, so
I wonder why you like cats.
Me too.
All right, so let's get these shaped.
Sure thing.
And by let's get these shaped, I mean you shaped these.
I figured. So
for those of you who are just coming in, I gave this spiel a little earlier, and I'm going to do it again while you're rolling. You want to try to roll, because I mentioned earlier, I'm legally blind, so I have a little, very visible little indicator here. You don't want to press those too flat.
they say about 1 centimeter is right for these.
So that's about 1/3 of an inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can translate to freedom units.
We're in Merca, not Eorzea right now.
Well, Eorzea uses ilms, not centimeters, which are essentially inches.
Well, now, there we go. That's what we're going to want. I'm going to redo this one, actually.
Yeah, that one's a little too thin.
That one's a little too thin. Which, I mean, will make a nice crispy coffee break cookie, but
yeah,
not the nice toothsome crunch that we're really looking for here.
So while you're doing that, I do have clean fingers, because I did wash. I will put in chocolate chips.
Sure thing. So tell me, how did you get into Final Fantasy XIV? What was your kind of onboarding ramp?
So it was my birthday last year, and I was just...
It was a tough year.
It was, not only was it a tough year, but my cat had passed away.
Oh, God, I'm sorry to hear.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I knew your cat passed away, but I forgot that it was on your birthday.
It was on my birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's a terrible... Now I remember, because we were going to play Jackbox.
Yeah,
Oh.
that was a miserable, it was literally a miserable day, and I said, an expletive that I will not repeat in polite company. I'm going into Eorzea. A friend of mine who plays a awesome row paladin invited me to join and was like, "You should be on Coral because that is the world I'm on." And I said, "You know what? I will." And I've mentioned this before. I'm legally blind. I made use of. I did not personally make use of Child's Play services because they didn't exist when I was a kid. But the hospital where I was treated is one of the Child's Play hospitals. It's Newark Children's Hospital in New Jersey. And they were awesome, and I always wanted to find a way to, help support them. Since they diagnosed and treated me all throughout my years, surgeries when I was in high school and college.
I remember the first day you told me you could see a 3D movie. How excited you were!
Oh my goodness! Yeah, I had I don't even know what that surgery is called, but essentially, my left eye cannot move on its own. My right eye is actually puppeting my left eye. They put these sort of like rubber band things in my eye behind the bridge of my nose that pulls my eye along. Mm-hmm. Sorry to get a little weird. So
hey, it's 9 p.m. somewhere. It's time to get a little weird.
So anyway, as a visually impaired person, I was like, well, can I even play an MMO? Because I can play video games fine with a lot of help.
With no one yelling at you, with a non-toxic community.
Yeah, and I will say this. I did my first dungeon, I did Satasha, and I was a conjurer, which is the healing class. And I had no idea what I was doing, and they yelled at me, and they kicked me within like 5 minutes of joining.
No!
I just had a really bad group, and I was so upset, and I just said, you know what, I'm going to give this one more shot, and if I suck that badly, I'm going to leave. And the second group was a complete 180 from the first. I again said I was a newbie. I had no idea what I was doing. They walked me through. We cleared. I exited. I had 3 commends. And, I mean, I was crap in that first dungeon, but I didn't die.
I was garbage in the first dungeon when you walked me through Satasha, I remember.
Yeah.
I was absolutely terrible. I think I triggered all the traps.
Every single trap.
But, you know what? At the end of the day...
We cleared and nobody died.
We cleared and nobody died. You know what? Isn't that what really matters? That no one's dead.
But now, so the thing is early Final Fantasy 14 is... I wouldn't say that it's not great. It's just that it wasn't optimized yet. They didn't know what they were doing. So.
Oh, well, they knew what they were doing more than the original Final Fantasy 14. You're already talking to Realm Reborn here.
Yes. But once you start getting into the 50 content or higher, they start standardizing things, and they also start creating a lot more sound-based tells. I can play any 50 or higher dungeon with my monitor turned off, purely from sound. And on my YouTube channel, I actually go through one of the 50 dungeons, the one just before Ice Heart, and walk through how I, as a blind player, can actually play by sound by explaining what each of these sounds mean, how they're used, and how I'm able to hear them. As long as I have surround sound headphones on, I can tank, heal, DPS just fine by sound alone.
It's really nice that they have those kind of like accessibility minded design for the game.
I don't even think it's accessibility. I think it's just like it's called the curb cut effect. If you're not familiar with it.
Oh no, I know that one. Isn't that the not to use a horrible stereotype, isn't that the Marvel Daredevil effect basically?
No, that's not what that is.
Which one is this then? I'm sorry.
So the curb cut effect is the concept that creating something with disability disability people in mind also helps regular people.
Oh, that one!
Versa.
Yes, now I remember this because of the ways that if you make curb cuts, everyone likes them and benefits for them.
Yeah, because in the olden days, a lot of people my age wouldn't even know this because it's before our time. Sidewalks were just straight, and then there was an immediate drop that would take you into the street. that's bad for people in wheelchairs, but that's
It's also bad for klutzes, like me.
klutzes, people on rollerblades or skateboards, people who are rolling rolled luggage, people who are unloading or loading like vans or large vehicles. It having those curb cuts is such a small thing. Yes, it's a little extra money up front, but it helps disabled people and everyone else.
Yes, society progresses.
If you feel those bumps on the edge of an area, it helps blind people know that there's, usually they're used at the ends of streets to let you know that there's a crossing.
Or at subway platforms.
Subway platforms have them. Also in Japan, not so much here, they're also used at the entrance to major indoor parking, so that you know that there's a parking garage coming and there might be cars coming out. They also help sighted people because you can just feel it with your feet. It's just an extra thing, and it's so useful. And that sound design in Final Fantasy XIV is just that good. I wish it was good all the way through, because those early dungeons really were tough. But once you get past, I'd say, not Tamtara, I'm gonna say starting with Titan is where that sound design starts to shine.
Sorry, that cookie was a little ugly. I wasn't ignoring you.
You're just like, no, I hate Titan. Trust me, you will hate Titan when you get yeeted off the stage.
Is it a poison swamp that I'm gonna fall into for 100 years?
No. So
okay, then I'm all right. Just so long as it's not Bloodborne again.
No, Titan is the first dungeon where if you get knocked off the stage, you cannot be revived.
Ooh.
So if you're a dragoon or a red mage and like backflipping is part of your rotation, it is a rite of passage to yeet yourself off of Titan. Look forward to it.
I'm so excited to pick up Red Mage now, really. This is my excited face, everyone.
Just don't backflip off Titan and you'll be fine.
You make it sound so simple.
But backflipping is part of your rotation as red mage. It ends your melee combo. But you can choose not to do it. It's a slight DPS loss, though.
Okay, so that one can use one more, or two more.
So we've completed these. These are going to go in the oven for, let me check how many minutes. 13 minutes. And then we'll be back to take them out and work on decorating.
Sure thing. See you then, everyone.
So we've taken our cookies out of the oven. I was a bit of a dunce and I left them in even just 2 minutes too long. So they're a little bit overdone.
But here's the fun thing about them. They're a little bit like biscotti. They are meant to dip in piping hot mugs of coffee. I touched the piping hot mug of coffee and almost burnt myself. They're really hot. Ow. But
that's why you're the thaumaturge.
That's why I'm the thaumaturge. If it burns a little, it's like a biscotti. It just makes it a little crunchier, and it's going to be dipped in coffee anyway. You're not going to even notice it.
Yeah, so we actually had the two most burnt ones on the rack, and they were still delicious.
So good. Oh my god. Mr. Producer, thank you. They're
Yoshi P.
Yoshi P.
Yoshi P. 本当にありがとうございます.
I've lost my Japanese skills since study abroad. But thank you.
So we're gonna now dust the plates. On one plate we'll dust the inverse. So we're going to use the actual meteor symbol on one, and then when we dust and lift up the meteor symbol, it should leave a clean mark behind. On the other one, we're gonna dust the other way, where we're gonna use the outline.
Let's use the smaller outline. That one's a little bit on the big side.
But then it's going to fit the cookie exactly in the middle.
Oh, it is going to fit the cookie exactly. You are so correct. I am the dunce here.
So I'm going to have you do that while I bring over the cookies, because I trust you completely.
A foolish decision, really. So we're just using a little bit of Vietnamese premixed coffee powder that has a little bit of sugar and what's it called? Milk in it already.
Powdered milk, yeah.
Powdered milk. So, if a little bit gets eaten, should just be tasty, and has this nice kind of sandy color that'll look real nice with the cookies. And then here, we're just going to do the same, but with the inverse, and we're going to pray that it comes out, because...
Pray Return to the Waking Sands?
Is this a reference?
Yes.
I'm very early in the game.
You are too early for the Pray Return memes. You also missed the fact that so in the olden days, the Waking Sands is an area you're going to be going to a lot. Originally, you had to take a boat there.
Oh my god.
Like, it was a process. Now you get Aether 8 tickets, so you can teleport directly there. There is no Aetheryte at the Waking Sands, so you get a ticket that will basically just
act as an Aetheryte, kind of.
Yeah, exactly, from anywhere.
I already hate having to go to all the little islands when I'm doing my rogue leveling. The idea of having one region that's just a boat sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it's annoying. So I mean, they haven't gotten rid of it. You can still take the boat there if you want to go the slow way, but they've made it easier, and that looks gorgeous.
Oh, that came out perfect.
So let's put a cookie right in the middle, and here's a nut. This sheet here isn't burned. Let's get a slightly larger one.
Yeah, that'll look even better. Oh yeah, that's a meteor right there.
All right, let's
And
see
now
if
we're
we can
gonna
lift this very carefully.
This one is going to be real tough. Let's hope the inverse works. And oh my god, it worked even better.
It looks fantastic.
Oh my god, that one worked perfect.
Cookie right in the middle.
So
I don't want to tilt these up. I don't know how well you can see. So I'm actually going to turn around and I'm going to adjust the camera myself, and you can stay in the smiling shot.
Sure thing, everyone. Hi. How you doing? Friendly neighborhood cat boy.
All right, so I am going to grab one of the cameras here, because we actually took cameras in 2 locations.
Oh my god, I forgot how good Vietnamese coffee was.
It is good. I lived in Sapa for a while, and I brought it back with me. Check this out.
And just so you can see how perfect it came out under there. So this is a fun little technique if you're doing any dessert. Scoop a gelato right on there. Mmm.
All right, so we're gonna dip ours in our coffee and have our coffee biscuits.
And then I get my 20,000 gil, right?
You can't get gilled if you're eating it instead of turning it in.
There are 8 to turn in, or however many.
9
it is
per
the
turn
levy
in. There's 10 on this sheet.
and there's 9 on that sheet. Great, we've got 40,000 gil right here. Well,
Cheers.
Cheers.
And as we dip, I'm going to do the spiel again. This is the Cookie Brigade. We give out tasty treats during PAX, but we're giving them out virtually this year.
Mmm.
And yeah, exactly. And the reason why is, 1, we don't want people to go hungry during PAX, but 2,
It's for charity.
We take donations for Child's Play. The cookies are free, but you are always welcome to donate. And you can donate right now. And if you donate $100 or more during this weekend, a Cookie Brigadier will personally mail you a homemade batch of cookies to say thank you.
Could be us, and we promise not to singe them this time, even though these are so good.
These aren't singed. Look at the back.
No, that one's perfect. That one is perfect right there. Mmm. I really wish you at home can try these. And you know what? You can! We just gave you the recipe!
So again, this is Sarah Winters. I am a Brigadier out of Philly, so I hope to see you at PAX Unplugged.
I'm Blake. Look me up as Kajuratia on the Curl server if you're in the neighborhood. Thanks for joining us.
We're too good. Cheers.
Cheers.